So this year we were trying to explore how Krishna refutes every single excuse. In chapter 1, people often come with the excuse, I just don't have time. That excuse was refuted. Who could have been more busy? Who could have been having a more hectic and chaotic situation than Arjun? But Arjun made the time. We have to make the time. In chapter 2, we came with the excuse that I already know all of this. It's been in my family for generations. We talked about Arjun, who also had grown up in a family of spiritual culture, but he came in front of Krishna and said, please instruct me. I know on one level, but on another level I don't know. And therefore we must have humility in order to understand. In chapter number 3, we explored the excuse that people have. I have so many duties to family, to society, to my organization and in my career. After I've completed everything, then I'll do spirituality. Krishna talked to us about a life of integration where your swadharma, your worldly duty, goes hand in hand with your sanatan dharma. In chapter 4, we looked at the excuse, I'm not intelligent enough. This is for all of the intelligent, philosophically minded Sanskrit scholars. I'm a very simple person. Krishna said, don't worry. Bhakto sime sakha cheti rahasyam yetadutamam. If you're a bhakta, if you're devoted, and if you're friendly, then rahasyam yetadutamam. You will understand this most confidential knowledge. Don't worry. This knowledge is understood through character, not competence. In number 5, we looked at the excuse. I want to do something practical to help the world. Practically, I want to help solve the suffering of the world. Krishna explained, the biggest lack in the world is the lack of samadarshan, spiritual vision, equal spiritual vision. When there is spiritual vision, every other problem will get solved at its root. And therefore, Krishna blew that excuse out of the water. Chapter number 6, we said, no, I'm too active, I'm restless, my mind is very, very busy. These things are not for me. We explored about how Krishna says everyone has an active mind. And the mind, Arjuna said, is more difficult than to control the wind. But Krishna said, asamsayam, you must control the mind. Because if you control the mind, then you can be active in the world in the most powerful way. So this is not an excuse. In chapter number 7, we looked at those people who say, I'm a scientist, I'm a rationalist, I'm logical. I want to see evidence. I want to see empirical facts. I want to conduct an experiment. Krishna beautifully married the principles of spirituality and science and explained to us that this Bhagavad Gita is not a religion, it's not a faith, it's not a belief, it's actually a spiritual science. In 8, we said, this is all fine, I have no excuse, but I'll do it in the future, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it the week after. Krishna said, remember, the body is a ticking time bomb. At any moment, our final call could come. No one puts that date in their diary, but that day arrives. Therefore, Krishna said, don't wait till tomorrow, because if that's your mentality, you'll be waiting your whole life. In chapter 9, one may say, I don't follow organized religion, systems. I don't follow all of this structure. Spirituality is an affair of the heart, and I follow my spontaneous way. Yes, Krishna said, give your heart to me. Man mana bhava mad bhakto. Give your heart to me. But in order to reach that level of purity, first, you have to engage in regulated sadhana. The daily commitment to acts of devotion will awaken the true heartfelt devotion that you're talking about. In chapter 10, there was the excuse, but I don't see God, I don't experience Him, I've never come in contact with God. Krishna said, how is that possible? I'm everywhere. I'm the taste in water, the light of the sun and the moon. I'm the ability in man. The problem is not that not that God is not available. It's the problem that our eyes and our perception is not able to tune in. In chapter 11, one may say, my excuse is, I've got too many problems in my life. Who could have had more problems than Arjuna? But Krishna showed Arjuna the universal form and said, Maya vita nihata purvameva. It's all been resolved by me already. Don't worry at all. In chapter number 12, we said we came up with the excuse, I'll lose all my friends. Krishna said, no. Maitra karuna evacha. You will become non-envious, compassionate, free of ego, and you will become the best friend to others. You will attract the best friends, and you will ultimately get connected to the ultimate friend, who is Krishna. In number 13, the excuse was, I'm already happy. But Krishna explained there's different ways to be happy, and there's different types of happiness. If you want to find the highest happiness, then the way to that happiness is to try to serve. Don't try to be happy, try to serve. And if you serve, you will find real happiness. In chapter 14, one came with the excuse, I'm too bad, too many bad habits, too much of a bad person. Krishna said everyone is pure, but we're all tainted by different qualities of material nature. The good news is by engaging Mamcha yovya bicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan. By bhakti yoga, spiritual practice, you can go sagunan, beyond all these bad influences. In chapter 15, Krishna gave the answer to the excuse, no, I can't take up spirituality. I'll lose my ambition. I'll lose my drive to be successful. Krishna said, be the most ambitious. Be the most successful, but be ambitious and successful not in the reflection, but in the reality. Because in the material world, all the reality will exceed our dreams, but in the spiritual world, the reality exceeds our dreams. In chapter number 16, we came with the excuse, I think religion causes more problems. Krishna actually explained that the cause of problems is a lack of spiritual vision, demoniac mentality, where we try to take God out of the picture. Yes, religious people may cause problems because they're not actually following the true religious teachings. Therefore, find true, genuine spiritualists and follow that. In chapter 17, one said, no, there's too much hypocrisy, too much lies, cheating. The Gita is great, but the people following the Gita are not great. We talked about in this chapter how there are different types of spiritual practitioner. However, one should not walk away because one had 1 or 2 or a few or 10, even 20 bad experiences. Rather, one should look for a pure soul who has integrity and who actually practices what they preach, and associate with such people, and the Gita will come to life. We have reached the 18th chapter. So many excuses have been given and so many excuses have been refuted. Yet there can still be one final excuse that one may come up with. And that excuse is that I don't want to be forced into spiritual life. I have to do this from my heart. I have to do it from my own volition. Sutapai, you've given many answers to many excuses, and it all makes sense on an intellectual level, but I have to now practice this Bhagavad Gita with my heart when the time is right, with my own volition. To this excuse, my friends, I have no answer, because Krishna says the same thing to Arjuna. After Krishna has presented all this incredible knowledge, then Krishna looks at Arjuna and says, Iti te jnanam akyatam guyad guyataram maya Vimrashe dadasheshena yatechasi tata kuru. Krishna looks at Arjuna and says, Itite jnanamakyatam. Arjuna, I've given you all this amazing knowledge. Guyat guyataram maya. This is knowledge which is so confidential that only a select few have heard it before. Vimrashe dadasheshena. Now Arjuna, I want you to think about it. I want you to reflect upon it. And I want you to deeply consider everything I've said. And then, what does Krishna, who's the supreme controller, say to Arjuna? Yatechasi tata kuru. Now Arjuna, you do what you want to do. And so that is how the Bhagavad Gita ends. We cannot force you. Neither Krishna will even force you. The choice is yours. 2021 is coming. What will you make of 2021? How will you grow your spirituality? What change will you make? Small minds discuss people. Average minds discuss events. But great minds discuss wisdom. So the final thoughts we can leave you with is, read the Gita every single day. Not only that, study the Gita, take a course, and in the association of other spiritual people, try to deeply understand its principles. Don't just read the Gita and study the Gita, but then live the Gita, start changing elements of your life so you bring this wisdom into reality. And then we can only hope and pray that you then go on to share the Gita with as many people as possible, because this really is the only hope for happiness in the world we live in today. So it's been a historic event here on Gita Jayanti Day. We have gone through 700 verses of the Gita and we've reflected upon these amazing, incredible teachings of Krishna. Let us not finish our study of the Gita here, but just take this as a fresh inspiration to continue living with the Gita. And in this way, offering our respects to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who lived such an amazing life, and who through his own example showed us there's no excuse for not taking up spiritual life. We offer our respects to Srila Prabhupada. We offer our homage to Sri Sri Radha Gokulananda, who are our constant shelter and our directors. And in this way, we conclude our 18 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita. And thank you very, very much for being online with us.